Okay, welcome to Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones podcast. I'm Doug Smith, and with me, as always, my good friend, Mr. Nathan Jones.
Hello, everybody.
It's universally known as a hello.
Is
right?
it's
acceptable.
it's Wookiee speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever.
We also have a special guest in the room. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Hannah, and I'm here, friends with Nathan, new friends with Doug.
Glad to have you. Appreciate you coming.
Are you a Sagittarius and enjoy long walks on the beach and
You know me so well.
yeah,
I want to know these beaches that are so damn long, first of all.
probably the whole entire East Coast. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Those are the beaches that
boardwalk.
nobody wants to be on.
No, because it's
They're
got
very
Jersey
cold.
Shore.
The Jersey people.
I've been in a New Jersey beach before.
Ugh.
It's very cold.
October 27th is today's date. We're playing a little catch-up here because we missed last week. Unfortunately, I've been slammed with horrors at work.
Bastard.
Yeah, the man's been holding me down, keeping me from doing things. But we're going to get after it today and try to play a little catch-up. As far as movie reviews, obviously we missed a week, so you've got a lot of things to review.
And yeah, have you seen a couple things too?
I've seen some things.
Okay. Well,
I can't tell you about them because, then people would hunt me down.
Stranger Things, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
You've already seen it all?
No, I wish.
Okay.
I literally almost came into, or called into work. Just,
And
religious
they would
holiday.
They would have known. Like, it's original as a holiday. I gotta.
Totally legit.
Have you seen any Stranger Things yet? You haven't even seen
I
the
haven't
first.
seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Get on it.
I know.
I can't recommend it enough. But in honor of Stranger Things Season 2 coming out today, we'll go ahead and just talk about some Stranger Things facts. And these, don't worry, not going to spoil anything.
No
for you.
All
spoilers.
right, good.
Okay,
Good.
so these are kind of unknown facts about Stranger Things for all you Stranger Things fans out there. So, firstly, Netflix bought the rights to Stranger Things 24 hours after they got their initial pitch.
whoa.
What?
So, yeah, Netflix already kind of has a reputation for accepting anything and everything that kind of comes their way, but 24 hours is ridiculous in this industry for anybody to, sign a check and say, go make magic.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm not a movie executive
Mhm.
or a person who pitches movies or ideas to people, but I feel like 24 hours is just insane.
This also comes after the 15 different studios turned down.
15?
Yeah,
Really?
15 different television studios.
Was
and
it always a series?
It was always supposed to be a series, yes. A lot of the networks said they didn't understand the concept of a television series that was main characters were children, but it was not a children's show. They, for whatever reason, could not wrap their head around.
I mean, kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
It's an avenue that has not been explored a lot,
Right.
so why not go there?
That hasn't been there, but also I just keep constantly thinking of like Stand By Me. Like, that's a movie with kids and has no kid themes involved
Not
hardly
really.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can think of the last TV miniseries that was a similar story was actually It from the early 90s. And I don't think that had a very good reception. So maybe they kind of steered away from it.
It's quite possible, yeah. They
Because of
didn't
that.
want to.
I
They
don't
didn't
know.
want to go down that avenue.
It is an interesting and kind of similar premise, though.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Very
I
similar.
thought it worked with Super 8.
Yeah.
The movie, at least.
It was a very good one.
Yeah.
Additionally, there's over 1,000 kids were auditioned for the role of the 5 characters. They went through 936 boys and 367 girls.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Is that a kind of existential nightmare for you, Doug? Being around that many kids?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't imagine being a casting director for that. It was said that all the children that auditioned, none of them got to read actual lines from the series. They were all actually, now that you mention it, they were actually asked to read things from Stand By Me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange. That's actually cool, though.
Yeah.
In fact, the main actress, Millie Bobby Brown,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she was quoted once she got the part. She was curious when she got her first script. She didn't understand why the lines she read in the audition weren't in the script, and she was very confused. She thought she got bamboozled, so to speak. That somebody,
Bamboozled.
conned her into doing something that she didn't really sign up for.
Huh. Wow.
Also, this was my favorite one. So the art department for Stranger Things, apparently, they are quite the thrifty spenders. They paid in whole $1 for Sheriff Hopper's trailer.
What?
Yep. So the trailer house that is in several episodes,
Yeah.
and, is the backdrop for a lot of Sheriff Hopper's storyline. They paid $1.
Wonder how they pulled that one off.
I don't know, but I mean, you do look at it, and it does look like a shitty trailer.
Oh, sure.
From the 80s, so
But
it looks like it's worth at least $1.
Yeah, I'll give you $1.
Yeah.
That's
But
probably
in
what
this
they
day and
were.
age, I mean, it's absurd to think that somebody can buy a functional set piece for $1.
I bet that person who sold it is probably regretting a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right now.
They're probably not aware of it. I'm sure it's some auction.
Oh,
place that
probably
was
doesn't
like,
even.
we'll pay you to get it off our property, essentially.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
yeah. $1. Hell of a
Little
deal.
did they know.
The composers for the TV show. So it's got a very iconic theme song, intro song, a lot of synthing. Turns out that the composers were actually discovered from the internet.
Yeah, I knew that actually.
Yeah.
Unless you haven't heard that.
Wow.
Yeah, the Duffer brothers, who are the creative directors and writers of the television series, were scrolling around through the internet looking at different things, and they came across a movie called The Guest, and they're like, "Wow, we really like this."
The Australian movie?
Yep.
Yeah.
We really like this music in it, and they just Google searched the guys
Wow.
that did it and called them up and said, "Hey,
That's easy.
yeah." So
That was easy. I wish we had a Staples button.
Yeah.
no 10% to the agent on that one.
Right.
And finally, and this is one of the funniest ones I thought, Winona Ryder, at the time of filming the show, had no idea what the hell Netflix was.
Oh, wow. Well,
That
She
dates
is a-
her.
yeah.
That dates her well.
So that just goes to show how quickly this is kind of like culturally expanded as far as Netflix becoming an outlet for all these
Yeah.
creative
And
sources.
there are tentacles and everything, like Disney.
Absolutely.
Speaking of tentacles, that's what is going to be happening in the next Stranger Things, at least from the trailer I've seen.
Looked like things were going to escalate significantly.
You thought it was going to go somewhere else, didn't you, everyone
Yeah.
who's listening? But no, we're not going to go there.
But Stranger
Next
Things
episode.
Season 2,
Next episode.
out this weekend. Feel free to binge watch it.
Yes, like we're all going to do eventually.
So let's go ahead and get into some reviews. What have you seen lately?
Well, actually, both of us have seen Professor Marston
And
and
Wonder Woman.
and I wanted
Nice.
you to talk about that more.
Why?
you talk about it. You're a guest.
So it's a super interesting story for those who are not
It
familiar
is.
with the creator behind Wonder Woman and his actual home life and the series of events that kind of
Unconventional would be
very
the,
unconventional. In
keyword.
a lot of people come to grips and they really struggle trying to comprehend the fact that a guy that has created a cultural and feminist icon such as Wonder Woman has this sordid history, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's colorful.
Yes, to say the least.
Yeah, so Dr. Marston was a Harvard-trained psychiatrist or psychologist. I
Yeah,
can't recall.
something like that.
And his spouse, and in the 20s, women weren't allowed to receive doctorates. So she is equal in measure to his intelligence and his drive in academic pursuits, but she falters society-wise. So they have a very even relationship. Both of them are both dominant in the relationship as far as making choices, and they're conducting a research thing based on his theory that he's trying to develop so that he can make his mark on history along with her. They're both wanting to do that, and they're wanting to develop the
Truth. Yeah. What's it called?
it's where you strap up someone, you ask them yes or no questions, and
Lie
then
detector.
Yeah, lie
lie
detector.
detector
Yeah.
test. So they're trying to
Thanks,
figure
Mr.
out how to observe the measurements of the lie detector test.
Yeah, to accurately determine when somebody's
Yeah.
being.
So inserts the class that he's teaching, and they accept applicants for a research partner for his students, and unlocks Olive, who's very beautiful and very demure and very sweet. And there's honestly, I thought I saw instant attraction on
Yeah, it was
both
immediate.
parts
Yeah, it was
of the
immediate
wife
on
and
both.
the husband.
Oh yeah.
So, because ultimately, this movie is a love story amongst three people,
Non-conventional
just-
love story. Though.
Yes, it's polyamory.
Mhm.
Is-
Yeah.
So it started out very interesting.
Kind of whimsical.
Yeah, very whimsical. And then whenever the feelings started to circulate between the three of them more outward instead of inward, and it started to affect them socially, that's when things became more realistic for them, and it stopped being a fairy tale and it started being reality. And thus Wonder Woman was created, because it was almost like he created her to fight their battles for them. And she is the perfect combination of Olive and his wife, Elizabeth Marston. So Elizabeth was strong and fierce and had dark hair, and Olive was kind and sweet and generous with blue eyes. And
so he definitely took his home life inspiration.
100%.
And put him into the character.
And he took their own home life and
the bondage
activities.
there was a bondage involved.
Extracurriculars.
Feminism and bondage, and just a lot of unconventional lifestyles, which back then were unconventional. Now it's not unconventional. Now it's
Even I see a lot of the connections with like Greek culture. Like Greek cultures were a lot more fluid with their love and their attraction to each other. And it was more of like obviously the bad side of it, where there was like, boys and like elderly men,
right.
Where you see like, a teacher with a student, but it's like also a lover, but like they were also more Dionysian in their kind of love.
Acceptance.
It's more, like kind of just nature based.
Which,
less than
right.
Our societal base growing up in the Western world, there's a lot more Christian kind of, monogamous kind of relationships involved.
Yeah, polyamory is not your typical story.
No.
So this was definitely not your typical movie, and there were a few, what do you say?
Woo?
Woof.
Woof moments, yeah.
Woof moments.
Woof. It's a little line I stole from my best friend, so.
Yeah.
And for those that are listening are not familiar with a woof moment, could you define that?
A woof moment is a moment where tensions become really awkward for most people in the room, especially the person either talking or like watching it or something, and usually just, you can go woof. Like whoa.
Cut that tension with a
Like,
knife.
hey, you see a bondage scene on there? Like, you like look at your friend, you're like, woof. Like, it's getting tension.
Okay, all right, that happened. All right.
Yeah, that's what woof means.
So, would you recommend this movie?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, incredibly so.
Would you recommend this movie to somebody that is a comic book fan that has no idea what the hell
Absolutely.
the backstory of the creator is?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Now, I would say that I did a review of it, and if anyone wants to check that out, it's on my channel. I would say that this was a little Hollywoodized. It didn't really put too much on the negative sides of it.
So it was a little over glamorized.
A little over glamorized. It was a little shiny.
Yeah.
But I mean,
too much happiness.
Just like
realistic.
like American Made was when we talked about with Tom Cruise. It was like
gloss over the glory details.
Yeah, and it made it really, really kind of. They glorified it up. They Hollywoodized it, but
Timeline was a little difficult to follow as well. But
yeah,
that wasn't the point of the movie. It wasn't the timeline.
That's for sure.
So.
But it's definitely worth checking out. If you have an open mind, it's fantastic.
Right.
Sweet. What else have you seen?
Oh, well, I saw The Foreigner with Jackie Chan, which was actually marketed very differently than what it looks like a kind of action adventure kind of movie that Jackie Chan would be normally
Jackie Chan
typical one, but it was a political thriller with Pierce Brosnan. It's a lot more like the movie The Ghost Writer. I'm saying writer, not writer.
Writer.
Not with Nick Cage. Ugh. I'm assuming both of you have seen Ghost Rider with Nick Cage.
I have avoided that.
Yeah.
It's a good lucky you.
Keyword avoided.
But it's a lot more like The Ghost Writer, which also stars Pierce Brosnan. It's a political thriller, and more or less Jackie Chan, he loses his daughter at the very, very beginning of the movie to this new organization, which is not new. It's actually they call themselves the True IRA. Or the new IRA or something. I can't remember exactly what the verbiage was, but the IRA was very prevalent in...
Like an Irish mob thing.
So let's say, what separates them from the traditional IRA?
They were because the IRA is like gone, more or less. And they were...
Bring it back.
Bring it back, yeah. And it's like, is this ISIS? Like bringing pipe bombs back.
Yeah.
Yes, good old pipe bombs. carnage and destruction in Northern Ireland. But they bomb this cafe, kills his daughter, and pretty much he keeps coming to the police and asking what are the names, and they're not giving him any answers. So he just takes things in his own hands. And Pierce Brosnan is used to be an IRA member from back in the day. He's the head of an Irish Parliament thing, and he's getting his hands dirty in a lot of different political things. And it's really actually a very interesting and intriguing concept. Sounds boring, but it's actually really intriguing the entire time.
So how is Jackie Chan? Because he's kind of been out of the mainstream Hollywood eye for quite a while.
Since Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Is that the last time he was in a movie?
Yeah, he stayed over and done foreign films in the last about 10 years.
Wow. He did fantastic. Now, I've only seen him in his typical type of, kung fu-esque movies where he's an action-adventure. Or I've seen Jackie Chan Adventures, if you remember that Cartoon Network series. I saw that, but this was really good because it portrayed him more as a character who has a lot more range.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what I was going to ask, because this definitely sounds like something that's out of his normal wheelhouse, where it's not just a basic plot-driven action film where he just does one thing. He's a very one-dimensional actor in that aspect, where he's known for his stunt work.
Yeah. It wasn't really... I would say that this movie is not really directed around... It is directed around Jackie Chan, but he's there about 60% of the time. Mm-hmm. Pierce Brosnan actually takes a huge predominant role in the movie. So it's like almost 50-50 with this movie with them.
Do you feel that Pierce Brosnan was playing Pierce Brosnan like he always does? Because I feel like he's always just done that.
The debonair English gentleman.
Yes, I mean, he's never really expanded.
But he's a debonair Irish gentleman.
He always wears a suit.
He always wears a suit. He's got that belly, that he developed. If anyone's
Bond belly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can look up Google right now, Google image Pierce Brosnan at the beach, you can see he's got a little belly now.
Happens to the best of them.
Dad bod.
Dad bod.
Val Kilmer will test
dad bod.
Oh, Val Kilmer, jeez. Old dad bod. I don't want dad bod to come back, Anna.
It never left.
I know, I'm getting one myself. But besides that, I saw Suburbicon last night, which another movie that was...
so we talked about it a little earlier, that I saw the trailer for it, and immediately I saw this, and I was like, I don't think this is marketed correctly. I highly doubt that the movie that I'm going to watch is going to be the movie that was just advertised to me, and you just confirmed that.
Yeah, it's got Matt Damon in it. Yeah, you got the Team America World Police. Hannah's laughing. Yeah, you got Matt Damon in it, and it's directed by George Clooney, who's done Good Night and Good Luck, which I actually love that movie. About Walter Cronkite. Not Walter Cronkite. Why can't... Edward R. Murrow.
There you go.
Yeah, I got it right.
Nailed it. And
then it's written by the Coen brothers, so I thought it was going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they...
everyone gets a best.
Yeah. Well, it was marketed really differently. It was marketed kind of almost like a burn after reading, it seemed like, kind of movie. But then it became this kind of dark tale where it just seemed really generic. Almost like a dark tale, like Matt Damon. You're questioning his motives. You're questioning his motives and his family. There's this,
is he a good guy?
Is he a good guy?
Is he making the right decisions?
There's some mafia elements into it, and this Suburbicon, this suburbs, and this is obviously in the 50s, and it also revolves around a neighbor who joins this, who's African American. These three people, the husband, wife, and their son, and then pretty much the whole time everyone's harassing them. Except for but that's a side story. That's why I am very confused.
Unnecessary side story?
Unnecessary. It ties in at the end a little bit, but it's not really...
The payoff's not
the payoff there. Yeah, you just see a lot of racism happen in the 50s towards this, on top of there's a story with this, mob kind of story with Matt Damon, and it just comes together in a weird juxtaposed way. I don't know how to describe it. What about you, Hannah? Have you seen anything recently?
I saw The Mountain Between Us, which was the biggest waste of my time.
But Idris Elba.
I was wrangled into seeing it with my friends, but it was so cliche, and I predicted almost within 5 minutes of it just because of the...
You've seen that story before?
Oh, it was so overdone, and separately... they're fantastic actors in their own right, but they were given such terrible story, script, everything. It was just over
So you'd say there was a mountain between them and the...
Hey. It was just so poorly done. I don't have anything nice to say.
It was just shit.
So bad.
Yeah.
It was so predictable. I mean, even down to their angry faces and their fake sadness, and it was just like give them what they want, Hollywood, which is disaster film with random romance, super random,
Forced
romance,
very forced, considering they're complete strangers and they're almost dying. But hey, let's hook up in this cabin with.
Makes perfect sense.
No shelter?
Yeah.
Really?
Why not?
Terror all around us? But hey, you look cool.
I've always had a sneaking suspicion that actors and actresses, especially further on in their career, at some point just take roles to buy new furniture. This is my...
Not from IKEA.
Yeah. I mean, because you'll see people on this high rise and high success rate, and then all of a sudden there comes that weird-ass movie that you're like, why the hell did you take that movie? Michael Fassbender, The Snowman.
Or even...
Michael Fassbender, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I was going to say,
exactly.
Exactly that.
Hi.
Whoa.
What are you doing? Even Macbeth was like a weird role, but I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people haven't seen that, but I digress.
Kate Winslet, I feel like she's been off the Revolutionary Road Oscar track for a while now, especially with the Divergent series.
She needs to course correct a little bit.
Yeah.
They could just... Her and Leonardo DiCaprio could just make some more movies together. In my opinion, that'd be okay.
But Leo's saving the planet by, flying a plane and doing more environmental stuff by flying his own personal plane. But I digress. Yeah.
Hey, he's got his Oscar now. He's done.
He's done.
He's done with Hollywood.
He got the trophy. He flipped the bird. He said, "Thanks. I'm out."
I did that for my boy. He was buried right.
It's a good movie. A lot of whispering.
I love that movie.
I actually never saw The Revenant.
You never saw The Revenant? Oh, it's visually so good.
Very good.
Yeah. I know the story because I've actually read the book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, it's one of the best shot movies I've seen in a while.
Yeah, there's a lot of long shots that are a minute and a half, just one take, and you're like, wow. And several of them are action sequences, so you're like, holy cow. I mean,
yeah, especially near the opening.
Yeah, the amount of choreography that went into just framing the scene, and then you think in the back of your head, how many times did you have to do this?
He did this a lot, yeah. Especially for a lot of natural. He's shot in a lot of natural light, and so he had to time things perfectly. Yep. And they were in Canada, so you
got 30 minutes to do it. You get 2 tries. Do it tomorrow.
Yep.
If you're lucky, if the weather holds out.
The weather holds out.
It's kind of like the movie Atonement. Have you guys ever seen that?
Second favorite film of all time.
I have it on my list. Go on, guys.
Well, so I'm sure you know this, but Atonement, the scene at Dunkirk, was the longest continuous.
Yep. Longest continuous shot.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it Ian McGregor?
No.
No.
Why am I...
It's,
Knightley?
No, he was in Split.
Yeah. Keira Knightley and what's his name?
Split.
Professor X.
Yeah. We all know him.
Why are we
James McAvoy.
Nailed it.
1-2 punch, Doug.
Yep.
And speaking of that, what have you seen recently?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember what recently constitutes, since we haven't done this in 3 weeks.
Talking about theaters, of course.
Talking about theaters. I'm drawing blank. You put me on the spot. I have to look at my movie pass account. Yeah.
Yeah. How's that movie pass going?
So far, so good. Like I said, you really can't beat $10 for a month's worth of movies.
Yeah, he's the economic side of Mr. Jones and Mr. Smith.
Yeah, well,
I'm not
I actually
so much.
heard that movie pass for the first time the other day.
It's fantastic in the fact that it actually works, because it sounds super skeptical and shady, because you're like, what? $10 I go to the
That's
movies?
exactly what I felt.
Yeah.
when
And
I heard about it.
I felt like I got duped for a while, because it was like, I signed up the
Yeah.
day I heard about it, and then
Took like a
month and a half to get my cards where I could actually use it. So I paid for a full month and never got to use it. And I was like, this is bull crap. I'm going to burn a village down. But it showed up, and I was like, all right, now I'm going to try to use it, and it's not going to work. And sure enough, the very first time I tried to use it at Alamo, they're like, yeah, we don't take that.
Oh,
And I was like, son of a bitch. And then I
damn.
sent them a message on Facebook, and they're like, no, we totally accept it. That guy was an idiot. Like,
Yeah, there's
sorry
a
about that.
bunch of kids usually there.
So I tried the next
well,
day, and it worked like a
dang.
time. And I've used it several times since, so it's pretty neat. I enjoy it. Crap. I don't remember what the last movie is. It's not loading.
Well,
I've been on a Netflix binge on Netflix original
Yeah.
series. I've watched a lot of documentaries lately. There's one, and I'm trying to think of what it was called.
it's going crazy now with
It came
conspiracy
out
theories.
last week, and it is a documentary about Jewish people that leave the faith.
Oh, okay.
Extra,
That would be interesting.
I'm trying to think of what the political, not political, but the
Secular?
yeah, the secular term for the very stringent,
Very orthodoxy?
yeah,
Yeah.
very Orthodox Jews, with the curls.
Because I always thought that they were the most secular of, like, all of, at least now in today's culture, I feel like there's secular Jews, and then there's, like, the Orthodoxy, the most extreme end, and also the people who are just, like, super, like, you can do whatever you want, I don't care.
Well, this is following, I think it was 4 people total, in their efforts to leave the faith and their crisis of faith. One of them was a young mother whose spouse abuses her throughout the relationship, and she finally builds up the courage to leave him and the faith, and then the faith kind of attacks her both physically and they just really try to wreck her life in every way, shape, or form. And it's a very interesting.
Religion can be scary.
Absolutely, any religion.
Yeah.
A lot of emphasis gets pointed towards certain religions nowadays, whether it be Eastern cultures or things like that. But all religion,
it's just hysteria.
It's fanatical.
Yeah, has a fanatic basis, and a lot of it has a very dark turn towards aggression and violence.
A lot of groupthink, unfortunately. A lot of things that don't let individuals decide on what they want to do, and if it hurts the community somehow, which is unfortunate. I know we talked about this, like a month ago or so, but I finally saw Empire Records last night. Which I work at a record store for anyone who hasn't heard, but on the podcast. But yeah, it's a little bit like that. It's that's more like it in LA when I went to why can't I think of it? Amoeba.
Yeah, and granted, Empire Records was at the height of CDs and music culture when it was still a thing. Nowadays, almost everything's digital.
Yeah, sad.
Sad panda.
But we all have physical copies here of things, right, Hannah?
Yes.
How many copies of how many DVDs do you think you own?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Oh,
Not
boy.
many anymore.
Yeah, well, you're gonna build up on that collection.
I will be building up my collection.
So, both of you're both collectors.
Sure.
All right. So, I always get this question, and I'm curious what your answer is as well. What is it about physical, actual, tangible product, that makes you want to collect it or continue it? Like, everything nowadays is predominantly available digital.
Yeah.
People ask me, why would I bother to fill up an entire wall of my house with stuff that I could
Easily
compress
access
on my computer?
On top of economics, too. Yeah.
I collect books more than movies or music.
Which also take a lot of shelf space and weight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, why don't you just
really
get
annoying to move.
A Nook. Yeah,
I,
come on.
I love the smell of books, and I love the way it feels in my hands. It feels more connecting to what's going on in the book.
Absolutely.
And it feels maybe more tangible as well. I have had a Kindle before. I did not like it.
Yeah.
I just didn't. It didn't hold my attention for some reason. I kept getting distracted by everything around me. So maybe it doesn't draw me in.
It almost feels like a phone, right? Like that's what phones do. It makes us just distracted all the time.
Yeah. I'm definitely a physical book collector. I love books.
I agree to that. I'm the same way. It's something about the smell, the feel. Stanley had a description or an answer one time about comic books, digital versus physical, and his comparison was it's it's like female breasts.
Oh boy.
He says, sure, you could look at one on the computer, but wouldn't you rather have one in your hand?
Oh my god.
Oh, Stanley, from another time.
Stanley, you knocked it out of the park, you glorious bastard.
I enjoy collecting old books.
Oh, absolutely. That's a smell you can't replicate.
No. Well, that, and I like the thought of like holding Brave New World by Aldous Huxley and wondering.
Not the movie.
Yes, the book, not the movie. and just kind of wondering, like, oh, this was printed in, or this copy of this book was made in the 80s. I wonder who else
absolutely.
held it and
has
enjoyed
history
it as
to
much
it.
as I have. So
I
get sentimental like that, though.
Absolutely,
about
and there's a huge market for things like that. First prints of classic stories, or
hardcovers,
houses in some cases. It's amazing. I'm always impressed and astounded sometimes when I see like an auction for some book like that comes up and it's 6 figures or something like that. I'm blown away by people's ability to take care and condition
Yes.
these materials
yeah.
over years. I mean, some whether they be family heirlooms or just somebody that takes absolute pristine care of their their items. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of control,
Not to-
resources.
A lot of time.
Yeah,
A lot of
absolutely.
money.
A lot of effort.
On top of like not opening things, like I can think of like action figures.
Mhm.
Like some people just have collectibles and they just don't open it. They have a lot of control because, I mean, to them it's a valuable thing. So it's just like with records or comic books or books or even movies. Like some things are really rare,
Mhm.
and so you don't really want to mess with them too much. And I mean, we're all collectors here. I mean, I would mirror the words that you both say. It's the physical act of putting something up. It's making you actually be a part of something instead of just clicking a button. Where it's like, it's the same thing with a record player. The reason I have a record player is because I want to physically get up. I have to put myself out of my comfort zone. I could just get on Spotify. I could just put in, even a CD is something easy you can do. But like a record player, you have to turn it over to listen to the...
It's an actual effort to get what you want out of it.
Yeah, and that hurt. I mean, a lot of people are kind of, disenchanted by that nowadays. But I mean, that's the reason I have a bunch of collectors is I want to be that person who's like, hey, I have this big I have this big collection, and they're like, but what about Netflix? I'm like, well, 90% of my collection is not on Netflix.
Exactly, and that's another thing too, because as easy access we have to today with the internet, I mean,
Mm-hmm. You can find all my stuff
find
on
anything you want.
Sure,
but it's
not the same.
It's not the same. No.
On top of you have shitty quality you find on these sites.
You give your computer AIDS half the time.
Yes.
Computer aids. But yeah, I would mirror the words you guys said on that.
Also, I don't like to rely on things like Kindles.
Yeah.
They can bug out and die the battery, which
happens more often than not.
Right.
Modern technology.
The only problem with reading a book is that my hands get tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just switch on my other side.
Yeah. The darn fatigue.
Or lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah. You can read a book in the middle of the desert. Your Kindle's going to die eventually.
Right.
Yeah, that's something I mean, we've seen enough post-apocalyptic movies, I'm sure all of us here. We have that little fear in our head. Not a fear, but also it's a realistic thing. Just like, hey, what if
a dystopia.
You're not around thing. Like, that's the reason I bring books on me with vacation. So I want to be away from technology.
Yeah.
Like, I could read it on my laptop, but I'd rather just have my book.
Yeah, you want to unplug.
Mm-hmm.
That's the purpose of vacation.
But Hannah and I saw a couple of other things, too, from the 20s.
Ooh,
so good.
Way back.
Yeah, well, we both saw the Cabinet
of Dr. Caligari.
And?
Nosferatu.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
For the first time, it's Halloween, it's almost Halloween. It's 5 more days here. But yeah, what do you think of Cabinet?
I really liked Dr. Caligari. I loved the effort it took to make that movie. Every scene
beautiful.
was so carefully thought out and orchestrated, and every scene was beautiful, even if it was in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
It was so well staged and
So schizophrenic and like it
right.
in it was almost delving into the postmodernist age of like art, but it was expressionism at post-World War Germany.
And the Dr. Caligari I felt very fitting for that time, like the actor and how he portrayed him. So I really, really liked it. I didn't like it as much as Nosferatu.
No, and that was the second time you've seen it.
Yeah, last time I saw it was in high school, so that's been 9 years.
Did it hold up?
It was way better than I saw it. For one, it was
Did you watch it in a
poor
classroom?
quality. Yeah, we watched it in a classroom, so it was really poor quality.
Yeah.
Different atmosphere too. It's kind of hard to.
And I have the Blu-ray, damn it.
Something
Right.
like that.
Got the damn Blu-ray that it looks beautiful on the screen.
Yeah, it looked really, really
That's
good.
something a lot of people don't understand is that they think, oh, this was made in the 1920s. How could this possibly look decent on Blu-ray? They don't realize the quality of a film
great
cell
quality.
is actually greater than Blu-rays that even capable of. So it's actually downsized to fit on a Blu-ray.
Yeah, it was. I mean, my copy was great. It's the first time I saw it, and I did a review of it. I had a lot of fun making that one. The very first 5 seconds, I know both of you have seen it.
Yeah.
I did a little rendition of me becoming Nosferatu with some candy corn. Definitely go check that one out. But I really enjoyed Nosferatu. I liked it. I actually liked it more than the 1931 Dracula.
Okay.
with Bela Lugosi myself.
I was going to say, his actual birthday was last week, too.
Yeah, I know. Which we would have
I haven't
talked
seen
about.
that movie.
It's good.
It is good.
It's, but I mean, obviously we've seen the 92 Dracula, which
Right.
I think is probably my favorite
Gary
Dracula
Oldman.
of all of them. But
So could you put yourself in the shoes of a person in the 20s, mainly a child, and imagine seeing that movie?
Oh, it'd be horrifying.
Absolutely.
Nosferatu you're talking
Yeah.
about? Oh, yeah. It's it's creepy today.
Yeah. The scene where, at the very end, where he's got a hold of his prey, I'll say that.
Yeah.
And he's looking up, and the lighting is so perfect. The director was so smart to shoot it the way they did, because the light just hits his eyes and they're reflecting in the camera.
That one glassy over.
Yeah, and it's...
You're just sucking the blood.
Yeah, it was really
Just-
creepy.
It's just, yeah, I mean, and even the effects were, I mean, for the day,
Right.
like there was, Nosferatu, he was, I can't remember his name, Orlok? Yeah,
Count
Count
Orlok.
Count
Orlok. He was moving two particular scenes, and I talked about this in my review. The carriage that picked up, Thomas is his name, I think. Anyways, the main character in the movie, the main guy, he picks him up, and it like goes at a supernatural pace, and like the camera work there had to be like, for its day, they had to use practical effects of speeding up
Right.
that process, which was really interesting. And I also saw it a couple more times when he was moving his coffin, like the lid was moving.
Mhm.
Like you can tell it like was different scenes cuts, but
spliced
like
together.
they spliced together, and on top of also Count Orlok putting all the coffins on top of that wagon
When
really,
you think
really
of
fast.
the lack of resources they would have had at that time in Germany when they were making it, I think it's very well put together.
Yeah, because essentially it's guerrilla filmmaking at that point. It wasn't the massive production that we see today where there's 100 people on the set. We're probably talking 5 or 6 people running the show there.
Yeah. It's all dependent on cinematography, the story, the actors, and just
Great music as well.
And the music was great. And both those movies that we talked about. The music actually, these are both black and white silent, by the way, if you've never seen these movies. And so they have title cards where you have to read. You have to read, unfortunately, people. Also watch foreign films, damn it. But there's a couple other things. I mean, we've seen a couple things.
So we touched base on it. That it's 5 days away from Halloween.
Yes.
So on that, is there any Halloween themed movies, whether it be horror movies or just movies in general that have a Halloween feel to them that you guys particularly are fond of?
You want to do 3
You
each?
got your favorites?
Yeah.
You do a 3.
All right, my first favorite's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, so a lot of people go back and forth on that, whether it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. So you're saying Halloween movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying Halloween.
I mean,
too.
I would watch it any day of the year, but
Yeah.
I predominantly would watch it in October. So
What say you? You think it's a...
I'm always in the middle. Like I watch it both seasons. Just
Sure.
I enjoy the hell out of it.
right,
Obviously.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what about you? You have
Yeah, I do. I've got several, but one, Ernest Scared Stupid.
one. Ernest. Oh, man. With trolls.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably my favorite Ernest movie. Of the
It is the best,
Yeah.
even though I hate saying that I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
But
they're ones I grew up with, and I vividly remember like being sick home from school one time and going to the movie store, renting that, and just sitting there eating chicken noodle soup and watching Ernest Scared Stupid.
Sounds like a great day, actually.
Yeah. What about you, Ed?
I just want to say I brought up Jim Varney earlier today. Ernest and
American Hero,
Yeah.
Jim Varney. You mean?
American Hero Jim Varney. I apologize. There's a fake. If you Google search fake Criterions,
Yeah.
one of them is Ernest Goes to Jail, and it's just great. But one that I think of initially, I just saw for the first time was Rosemary's Baby,
Ooh.
and that
Yeah.
movie for 1968
Mm-hmm.
is way ahead of its time.
So good.
Yeah, very creepy.
And I didn't know this was.
You didn't know what was about to happen to you.
No. And I say the music was really creepy. It just opened up in a very creepy sense. Directed by, why can't I think of his name?
that guy.
No, he did. He did
Questionable
Pianist.
morals.
He's a very questionable morals guy. He fled the country because.
Starts with a P.
why can't I think of his name? Doug's on the search. But anyways, I'll keep talking about this movie that just has creepy sequences, almost hellish in a way, I would say. So twisted for sure. I mean, what have you done to its eyes? What have you done to its eyes?
Yeah.
I don't really want to get too much into it because I want people to watch it.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah, Roman Polanski. Polanski, yeah. So, I mean, if you know about that guy, I mean, we could talk about sexual allegations later with Harvey Weinstein. And
Yeah, that's a whole other subject.
That's a whole other subject. We can do that. We can tackle that another time. Yeah. But anyways, back to Hannah.
The Shining, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It is one of my favorite movies, actually. I love it so much. I love everything about it.
Yep.
I think it's perfect. The book, I actually enjoy the movie more than the book.
That's very rare.
Which is very rare for me. It is exceptional.
That's quite the stamp of approval.
And I've actually stayed, I didn't stay at the Stanley, which the Overlook Hotel in the movie, which is a character in and of itself.
In Colorado, right?
Yeah, I've been into the Stanley, which is its actual name in Estes Park, and I've been into room 237, and it's very Hollywoodized in the hotel and everything, but it was a lot of fun.
So. I just remember I was in a pitch class. This was an intercession class. It was like a week. But he was talking about movie pitches, and I thought it was like some kind of marketing pitching class, but like I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like movies anyway. And so he showed us there was one of the trailers from, it was in 1980 when it came out. I want to say 1980 is when The Shining came out. So like 79 or 80 when they were, showing trailers for this. One of the trailers was just that elevator scene. That's it.
So good.
It just opened up and this torrent of blood just gushes out and then just covers the camera scene and then just says The Shining. Yep. I'm like, that right there is perfect marketing.
Nailed it.
No matter what people think about Jack Nicholson, take it or leave his antics in that movie when he's essentially in a scene, he's been locked into a massive pantry. And when you think about how they filmed that scene, he's entering into madness, and you can see it in his eyes across his face, and he's looking at a door. And all of this is just going on internally with him, and I'm just amazed at how talented he is. Yeah, every single time I watch it,
how he's able to convey so much emotional.
I'm literally just
expression.
Like enamored by it. I think he's fantastic.
It's that and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest are two of his most impressive roles. Period.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm gonna go easy one. Hocus Pocus.
Oh, it's so good.
Apparently, a second one's coming out.
Yeah.
What?
I believe when I see it.
We'll see.
We'll see. For 10 years now.
Yeah, that would be like Space Jam 2 or something.
Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, Hocus Pocus. I watch it every year. My wife loves it.
So we know the kid in the room is Doug. Everyone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can quote that movie verbatim.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I just remember the beginning.
We'll talk later.
When I was. I just remember the very beginning being pretty scared as a kid when the one of them dies or like turns into a cat.
Jonathan Bain.
Yep. Like you guys know about it more than I do. I've seen it. I haven't seen it in probably 5 or 6 years. So
you are missing out.
I know.
I should be my ass.
Yeah, I should just be shunned and leave.
Yep.
But let's segue into my second favorite. Slightly different, but it's actually Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth, I actually think, is a dark kind of fairy tale. So it's in a horror-esque genre, I think.
Yeah.
Del Toro is known for that kind of, and this is my favorite foreign movie of all time. The first time I saw it was back in like 2005 when it came out, and I really didn't get it because also at the time I didn't really like foreign films, nor did I want to read what was going on. It was creepy too.
Very creepy.
Very creepy. I saw it a couple years ago again, and I bawled my eyes out at the end, and that has stayed with me. And I just love the entire concept of the film. I probably gave some things away by me saying I bawled my eyes out, but it's a dark movie.
Way to go.
Way to go. All right, your third.
This is difficult. I've actually been sitting here wondering which one I'm going to choose. It's either between Clue, which I love the movie Clue, or I'm going to go with Silence of the Lambs, which I would watch that movie at any time of the year because it's also one of my top 5 movies. But it's, I don't know, both of them. When I first saw them when I was really young, probably way too young to be watching movies like them, but they just really stuck with me. I like the kookiness of Clue. I love Tim Curry and Silence of the Lambs. I love Anthony Hopkins captivating
I'd say it's his
performance
best performance he's done
as
ever.
Dr. Lecter.
Personally.
I think it's mind-boggling how good he is at being creepy.
Absolutely.
Your third?
I'm probably gonna go. So this is.
Don't steal mine.
I'm not gonna steal yours. No. I'm actually gonna go adult now,
Okay, cool.
and I'm gonna say it's. I'm just gonna bundle them all together and just say the Evil Dead franchise
Okay.
Oh, those are so
because
good.
I watch them
yeah.
all this time of year. I've said this a million times before. I'm not a horror guy. I
Yeah.
don't like horror movies for whatever reason. Evil Dead. It's got a place in my heart.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed it.
Campiness to it.
Yeah, the campiness,
It is
Bruce
very
Campbell's
campy.
portrayals.
At least the second and third one.
Yeah, the first one is the low budget first.
Even though the remake is just like gore
Yeah,
fest.
but yeah, for whatever reason, Bruce Campbell, I'll sit down and watch anything he does, and even though it's absolutely horror genre, I love the Evil Dead franchise.
About 6 years ago, I saw a musical around this time of year
Mhm.
that was a splatter. Like they would throw blood on the audience, like fake blood on the
So
audience.
Gallagher style.
It was
Yeah,
Evil
like-
Dead the musical.
Oh,
It was
nice.
so much fun.
Yeah.
Did you do a Guar reference?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Or Blue Man Group.
Yeah.
It's a safer family kind of like I've seen Blue Man Group and I was front row. I'd like to point out
I'd rather be front row
and
and
Guar. Yeah, I would too. Do you know Guar?
No.
Well,
It's
they're
Kiss on steroids.
Yeah.
It's like if Kiss and Jim Henson had a
Oh.
metal-loving baby.
yeah,
Oh.
it's metal punk. It's more like
it's a
punk.
weird.
So like gothic puppets?
Yeah.
Except that like it's people and they're like aliens from another dimension is what they call themselves, and they have outrageous
I
clothing.
feel like you're literally explaining the concept of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, it takes a lot of liberty from that. Yeah,
Very similar.
but it's a little bit more sexual in some elements and a little bit more shocking.
Oh.
But segueing to that, my third and final one is my favorite horror movie of all time, and that's The Thing. From 1982, John Carpenter directed that one, and Kurt Russell was the main character in it. This movie is just so good for its time, like the mixture of practical effects. I don't know how they did it. It was just like that's the kind of movies that I miss, or like where they actually put a lot of effort into the set design and the story, and like also just the costumes and like
the first Alien movie.
Yeah, exactly.
The head scratch, you're like, how did they make that look so damn real?
Exactly.
Like the first time we saw Jurassic Park, where we actually
Oh.
thought
Yeah.
dinosaurs were a thing. All of a sudden,
Like,
like,
holy
holy shit!
Are they keeping them in
Yeah,
Jurassic
where
Park?
have they
On
been
the
hiding them
islands?
the whole time?
Yeah, but this movie is actually a remake. Thing from Another World, or I can't remember the other. Yeah, I think Thing from the Other World. It was actually a book, and then it became a movie in the 40s or 50s, and then they finally remade it in 82, and then they had the prequel in 2011. But the 82 one, it's just the story alone is just such a cool concept, and it's also very, very frightening. Like this
I haven't
thing.
seen it, unfortunately.
This symbiote or whatever alien, this life form, this thing is. It attacks usually a life form on its own by itself. That way it doesn't get found out. Then it assimilates that thing, and it becomes either a person or a dog or some kind of living organism where it can literally just mock everything about you.
Like the Terminator and Terminator 2.
Yep, very
Yes.
similar. So it's one of those no one's safe, who everybody in the room is a suspect type of scenarios.
Okay.
And it's a cool concept, and I mean they find ways to kind of get people out of those situations. They do one particular one with blood,
Yeah.
where they all take blood, and like, well, it reacts differently to this substance if you pressure it with blood. So it's a good movie. Halloween Town.
Great picks, great picks. What else you got on the agenda there?
I have a couple of things I wanted to say. There's a new trailer out for the new P.T. Anderson movie that we just both saw.
Yeah, we just watched that.
Have you seen the trailer yet? Do you know P.T. Anderson, right?
No.
There Will Be Blood?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of these good directors,
Yeah.
people don't realize that they're
I'm
not
not
my
good with
boogie.
it.
Boogie
Director names.
Nights,
I'm not.
Magnolia. He is an iconic director. He makes very long movies.
Yep.
However, his movies are. It takes him like 5 years. Every 5 years is when he makes these movies. So
He's up there with Terrence Malick as far as this process. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I'm trying to think of the last one. Inherent Vice was the last movie he put out. P.T. Anderson, I want to say.
That's what I've heard.
With Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, if he put one out before then, or in between then, I'm not sure.
Regardless, though, this movie is with Daniel Day-Lewis, one of my favorite actors of all time. He's just he just plays himself.
He's the actor's actor.
Yes. Like, this is what a lot of actors want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just so good at what he is. And so I'm really looking forward to this. I guess it's set in the 1950s or 60s, like in London. And it's he's a clothes designer. He's a designer.
What is it called?
It is called Phantom Thread. And just go watch the trailer. I would definitely highly recommend it. It looks like an Oscar movie.
Yeah, my reaction was, here's Daniel Day-Lewis again, here to collect his Oscar.
Yep.
Because he knocks it out of the park. I mean, it was a 2-minute trailer, and you're like, wow, that was pretty captivating. I mean, this guy really soaks you in. My only critique was he looks way too much like Andy Warhol.
Yeah. Andy Warhol. Now I start talking. We listened to Bowie earlier today, too.
Oh, excellent choices.
Anything recently that you want to talk about, movie-wise?
No.
Nothing?
No.
No?
I'm good.
I saw Lost in Translation for the first time.
Again.
Finally.
Finally.
Right?
Yeah.
And Hannah actually told me to watch it.
Thanks to me.
Excellent choice. Sophia Coppola's
brilliant
movie. Best movie as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Marie Antoinette is very good. But
Virgin Suicides is good, but this is better.
I have not seen either of those, but
Jesus Christ.
I know. What do I do with my life? I just watch Transformer movies. No, it's not true, everyone.
Michael
I don't.
Bay's his favorite.
I hate Michael Bay. Don't even get me
Why
started.
would I watch a Coppola film when I can watch a Michael Bay film?
Godfather? Psh. How about Transformers 3, Dark Side of the Moon?
Boom, boom.
I also picked up, related to Lost in Translation, I finally picked up Her,
Mm-hmm.
which is the other side, apparently, of this Sophia Coppola, Spike Jonze relationship. And I've never seen Her, so I'm looking forward to seeing that movie, too.
Very good.
It won't disappoint you.
I've heard good things, except that also kicks into AI stuff, too. A little bit.
And
Creepy.
It's very topical in the fact that I can easily see that being the future 10, 15 years from now. The way, technology is progressing and the way we kind of regress into ourselves and that we all live off our phones. And
Watch Westworld, Nate.
I will.
Watch Westworld.
I need to see the original, too.
Yes.
Is Yul Brynner in it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They had it at the Alamo
I
a week or so ago.
I need to watch that, and I need to watch the show. I heard Anthony Hopkins is great in this
Westworld
movie.
had the most ridiculous, off the freaking chain experience at Comic-Con.
Really? The new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only had 100 people allowed into this offsite.
Like total or at a time?
Total.
Oh.
So it was very exclusive.
Wow.
People literally stayed out for 12, 15 hours on the sidewalk trying to get a random ticket to this event. But basically they walked you into a saloon. You got fitted for your own custom Stetson hat, which is over $500 that you got to keep.
Wow.
They asked you a questionnaire where you got black or a white hat based on your responses. And then once you were in the saloon, they had a bunch of animatronic-esque actors that refused to break character, and it was amazing. Apparently, you got free drinks afterwards and everything. I saw a couple of YouTube clips where people got in there and they kind of just they came around. I was like, holy cow!
Wow.
I mean,
talk about
that sounds insane.
Viral marketing at its finest.
Well, like that. I mean, we already talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Viral marketing on top of your Blade Runner experience, which that's just impressive.
Yeah, there's a lot of movie studios that really went above and beyond as far as their creativeness and their financial planning.
So one more thing I wanted to say that's connected to Spike Jonze. A lot of these are somehow I connected. I bought
everything. It's 7 degrees of Spike Jonze. Everything.
Apparently, 7 degrees of Spike Jonze. Apparently, I picked this up at the same exact time. I ordered this from Amazon. I got Her. I also got Adaptation, which I didn't know was directed by Spike Jonze, and also a story about Kaufman. Why can't I think of his first name? He did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Yep. This is actually a new documentary with Jim Carrey and also why can't I think of his name? Something Kaufman. Yeah. Andy Kaufman?
Andy Kaufman's the comedian.
It's not. It's Andy something. It's going to drive me nuts.
I don't know.
No one's looking. No one's looking but me. I'm looking for answers, but yeah, we'll do that. I got adaptations. Nick Cage, and apparently in it, and apparently Apparently, it's one of his best.
Yeah, it's
best roles.
Again, it's one of those things where he was on a high, and then after that
I think Moonstruck's his best movie.
I would say adaptation. That's personally.
But I haven't seen adaptation.
And I've seen Moonstruck.
Acting
yeah.
Anyway, that may be Raising Arizona.
Yeah, I love Raising Arizona. That movie's great. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
I love Coen Brothers sometimes.
Except that one.
Preface.
Yeah.
Preface.
Sometimes.
All right, you want to move to fan questions?
Let's do it. What you got?
Well, let's just get off. I actually just got off Facebook to see this one. It's connected to the Blade Runner thing. Why do you think Blade Runner 2049 bombed?
I have not seen it.
You've seen the original?
We both watched it. We both agreed it's a fantastic movie.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Critically, it's getting all the acclaim it deserves. It's just not getting any dollars. In fact, it was on the second week, I think it fell to third or fifth place. I mean, it had a crazy plummet.
Is that just domestic or is that overseas?
That's worldwide.
Worldwide, yeah.
But, domestic's where it's going to make the majority of it.
Don't know why either.
I know, the original wasn't a financial success. It was
maybe it was a curse.
One of those after 10 years. But I think it was just, number one, people didn't understand it. Because like I said, the first one's a cult classic.
It's a bit too cerebral.
It is too cerebral.
A little too philosophical
3 hours.
for most people.
I think that puts a lot of people off too.
Do people really, I mean, I guess I could be, if I was like a parent or like someone who was like looking at like, oh, this is 2 hours and 45 minutes, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like immediately. Like I can understand that, but I don't know. I guess I never understood the time question. I always got that with Lord of the Rings when I brought that up. If someone has seen Lord of the Rings or not. And they're like, oh, those are too long. I'm like, no, they're not. Like, they need to be longer.
They're not long enough.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I get it. Like, I have impatient things, too. But, like, you're investing your time into
absolutely. If I'm watching a movie, whether it's 2 hours or 5 hours, I've made the decision that I want to disconnect from whatever is going on in my life. I want to
Isn't that kind of point about film?
Yeah, and I want to dive into this, and I want to be engrossed in a story, whether it's 2 hours or 5 hours. I don't care. I just want to be absorbing all this as it comes to me.
Poor Blade Runner.
Maybe that's the difference between film lovers and moviegoers.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing that blows me away, and I think it's partly responsible in just the way that everything is digitally accessible nowadays, where people...
Instant gratification?
Instant gratification, plus people obsess more over television, I think, nowadays.
Yeah.
The movie, and I just think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it actually takes effort to go see a film, whereas
also
nowadays...
Pirating.
But, you can literally sit on your couch and watch a lot of films. You can sit on your couch and stream a lot of television shows. You don't ever have to leave the comfort of your home. You don't have to make an effort. You don't have to put pants on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think some of that's starting to...
creep into the movie, like, actually, the movie theaters.
Yeah, as a whole, I think it's affecting the industry.
All right. This is a question for everybody, but it's a two-parter. I actually watched this morning. I'll talk about it a little bit. Best movie ever filmed, and then my friend said, "Why isn't it Brick?"
Well, it depends on what your basis for best.
Sure.
Is. Like, are we going for cinematography?
Sure.
Are we going for special effects? It's so hard because it's a very broad question.
Sure. Yeah.
Pigeonhole that.
Because to me, I would say Lord of the Rings for me. All three of them combined. I know that was a 2-year process.
I would say that is probably the most impressive achievement as far as turning something that was considered unfilmable, and especially with the practical effects. The original trilogy, not the
amount of
the later trilogy.
The amount of man work they put in, like
absolutely,
all the work they put into that was just insane.
Yeah,
but that's just me, Hannah.
There are so many avenues to answer that question because I have so many favorite movies.
Well, just pick one, yeah.
Oh, goodness. Favorite for special effects? I don't know. If we're going for more like original, less CGI, I actually really like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I like all the campy costumes and the makeup and I don't know. I really like that story. I like the story of Dracula. I like the book. I like the stories interpreted on film. And when I first saw it, I was really struck by just how Gary Oldman didn't even look like Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Actually.
Didn't sound like him at all.
No. It didn't sound like, I don't know. I feel like that movie really...
You mean Harvey Dent? No, Harvey Dent. Damn it.
Commissioner Gordon.
I'm sorry, everybody.
I do remember reading something that Gary Oldman had to go to a speech therapist. I forget which exactly in between which films, but he essentially lost his own dialect.
What?
Like he lost his own speech pattern.
That's insane.
He'd done so many characters over the years that
He's such a chameleon.
Yeah,
I love him.
He lost his own.
Yeah, I really did enjoy Alien as well, as I mentioned earlier.
Oh wow, yeah,
just
for sure.
I guess you call them practical effects.
This is the tone of the whole movie.
Yeah,
it's just like perfect, almost. Doug,
I'm gonna say Jurassic Park. Like I said, it's one of those things
good.
as far as practical effects goes, and it's one of those things I literally thought
Spielberg.
dinosaurs had been
Real?
hidden away in part of the world. And I'm like, holy shit!
Isla Sorna. I gotta find that on the map.
Yeah. Why am I just now knowing about this? Yeah, it was terrifying.
It's a big question. So, I mean, and you can go at different angles like we all did.
Brick's a good movie. We'll go back to the second part of it. I've seen Brick.
I just saw it this morning.
Yeah,
and
it's a
I haven't
good
seen it.
I have not seen
noir whodunit.
Yeah, and
It's very deep.
it's really fucking hard to find too on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I was going to say it's one of those movies that did the film theater circuit. Didn't really have that big of a release. I was one of those that probably had 800 theaters that got released to domestically. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a couple years since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's Canadian too, and it was just like,
Wait.
it was
It
Canadian.
reminds me a lot of Memento. Just it's filmed and cut.
Yeah, and the film, like, I don't know, like, I mean, it's really fresh in my mind, obviously, I just saw it, but the way it was, like you were saying, it is a lot like Memento. There's a lot of sequences that are just like, wow, they didn't probably have much money to do this, and it seemed almost, like, in the acting in it, just, it seemed really, really well put together. To get the story across, they're like, most people don't know about this movie, and if you just tell someone to watch this, they'll be blown away by it. If they're like, I'm like, no, just watch it.
Yeah.
You'll see what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm sold.
Yeah, you should definitely watch Brick.
I have a tangent thought for a really good, one of the best movies in my opinion. That was Schindler's List.
Oh yeah,
so great. How it goes black and white, and just I don't know. It was. I loved how certain points of it were in, like her coat was red.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch it because it will resonate with you. But have a box of tissues and an emotional support buddy. Well.
Yeah, it's a long movie, and it's also it stays with you for a long time too.
Yes.
And finally, the last question, which is a silly one, but we like silly questions here. Is the late 80s, like early 90s martial arts movies revolving around fighting tournaments dead? Because where did the subgenre go?
Where did it go? The UFC killed it all. The mysticism surrounding all these martial arts, where we had Steven Seagal movies and
we had like Mortal Kombat,
people
Street
made it
Fighter.
look easy. Like someone pulls a gun on you, you just do that. You take the gun away. Well, the UFC and mixed martial arts as a whole kind of blew that out of the water and said, "Hey, guess what? It's all bullshit. None of it's real." And I think people really finally caught on to that and realized that
it's movies.
The overweight guy down at the local shopping mall that's teaching karate to young children that can't tie his kimono clothes because he's
like
He's probably not the lethal assassin that he's been.
You mean Steven Seagal?
Yeah. Turns out, like 5-finger death touches are not real, and you can't pressure point somebody to all these type of things. All the mysticism surrounding those.
Quentin Tarantino loves that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was his, campy take on 20 years worth of cinema bullshit.
Yeah, and I want a Mortal Kombat remake.
Oh,
a really good Mortal Kombat remake. I love
it. Would it be good?
I mean, if history tells us video game movies are not good, we had this discussion actually earlier on whatever. Yeah, but I just want a good Mortal Kombat remake where, I don't know, when I think of tournament movies, I think of that movie for some reason.
I think of Tron.
Think of Tron?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Tron still.
The original?
The original or the remake?
Yeah.
Wait, which
both. I know.
The soundtrack.
I know the soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard the soundtrack.
Video game soundtracks, there are many good soundtracks.
Yeah.
Movies, though?
Not so much.
On soundtracks?
No, the actual,
video game movies, yeah.
Movies are subpar, but the soundtracks are amazing.
Yeah.
Like Daft Punk did Tron, the new one.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I need to watch them still, I know.
Basically,
I guess I just never really... I guess Ready Player One's the next iteration of this type of genre, but I guess I've never really
The original Tron was really fun.
Yeah.
Because it was so interesting.
Campy-ish.
Getting in the game.
And at the time, it had pretty amazing special effects.
Yeah.
That was kind of the birth of CGI
I mean,
in its infancy.
Right.
What
And
year-
also had Jeff Bridges.
What year did that come out?
Let's be fair.
70s? Right. Is it
80s.
Yeah, 80s.
82, I want to say.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say either late 70s or...
Both of them are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
I will admit one thing, and this kind of like ruined my childhood.
Okay.
So this involves the Karate Kid. So now we're kind of in the 80s martial art.
Yeah.
So I went my entire childhood and then most of my adult life. I was probably 20 when I figured this out. The end scene when freaking Ralph Macchio crane kicks Johnny Lawrence and wins the karate tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking illegal technique. They say at the beginning of the tournament, no face contact, you're not allowed to do it. He wins the tournament on a fucking lie. So pissed off about that.
That's what, but Doug, that's actual life.
Just saying.
I know.
It's a major plot hole that ruins the entire...
So I'm guessing those were a big part of your life?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
Growing
that kid
up.
that was karate kicking the hell out of a tree, thinking he was a badass. Turns out I was, a 90-pound wuss that had delusions of grandeur. Thanks to Steve Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I mean, at
Well,
least it was
especially
something
Jean-Claude.
attainable. I thought I was Indiana Jones.
Oh, there you
so,
Do you have any final thoughts, Tana, on anything? Do you want to give us like a spiel of something that you want us to check out or something?
Any recommendations?
Any recommendations?
Recommendations. Kinsey, if you haven't seen Kinsey with Liam Neeson.
Okay.
I just borrowed it.
Does he die?
Nope, don't say
Spoiler
anything.
I'm not saying.
Because he dies in every movie. So I'm just saying, I assume he does.
Liam Neeson dies and everything?
Yes.
Let me think here.
I mean,
Narnia? Yeah,
Oscar
he's a
Schindler
lion.
eventually dies, but not in the film itself.
Yeah.
So
So does he die more than Sean Bean?
Yes.
Sean
You looked
Bean
this
is
up?
like your go-to. Let's kill him because
Yeah.
he's your favorite.
Yeah, well, he is my favorite. I have a man crush on him, I will admit.
Sean Bean is an enigma in the fact that his name should rhyme, and it doesn't.
Sheen Bean.
Yeah,
Sheen
it should be
Bean.
Sheen Bean, but it's not.
It's Sean Bean.
It goes against every phonetic rule.
It's
there
damn
is.
English language.
I honest to God thought it was Sheen Bean.
It should be.
Because I saw Goldeneye when I was young, and I was
Right.
reading the actors, and I was like, Sheen Bean.
That's an interesting name.
Alex Trevelyan is definitely Sheen Bean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I can't think of anything. But Kenzie's definitely worth a watch if you have an open mind, and
It's an
probably
Bio-
no children should be around when you watch it.
Okay. Now, biographical, right?
Yes.
Audio, yeah. Autobiographical.
Semi-autobiographical.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to have an anti-recommendation. I'm
Okay.
going to suggest people, for the love of God, stop watching these fucking Saw movies. There's a new one coming out.
Yeah,
this week.
Jigsaw.
Oh,
I think it's like,
Jigsaw.
number 7 or some shit.
8, I think.
Stop making that shit happen.
I saw
If you
the
stop
first
seeing
one,
it,
and
we'll
then
stop
I
making it.
haven't seen any of them since.
Exactly.
I think that's what kind of happened to the new Transformers. It didn't do too
No,
hot.
they've went. I think 3 is when it hit the peak, and now it's been a
Thank
massive
God.
decline.
I mean,
Get that out of
T-Rex Transformer.
That was the only selling point, and it was like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I watch them just because I grew up with Transformers, and every time I'm like, God damn you, Michael Bay, you're ruining my childhood.
I hated that I hate that I paid money on the first 4.
I didn't pay for them, so I didn't feel bad
Fucking
about
lucky.
it. But yeah. What about you? Got a final thought, recommendation, anything?
I mean, this is Halloween time, so this is October. I mean, we had some of that talk, but you had me thought of an anti-recommendation. This is also a very scary movie by a director I'm not a big fan of, and I may have talked about this before, I can't recall, but don't watch Antichrist.
Oh, fuck. Lars von Trier.
Yeah, I don't like that director. Have you seen it?
I have not seen
Do you
it.
know
Everything
about
he
it?
does
No.
is very polarizing, but that one in
I have not
particular.
seen it.
Fuck.
I mean, beautiful opening, and the acting is great. It's William Dafoe, and he does a really great job. But it's just I'm not turned off by many movies. Like I'm very open minded, but that movie
And that's the goal. I mean, that's Lars von Trier's shtick, so to speak. He likes to shock people, and he likes to push the envelope, and that one is that to a T.
Yes. If you are ever curious, just look up the synopsis. That's probably the best way to
Fun family film.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
In fact, I dare you. Public challenge, anyone out there. I don't care how old, how young your parents are. I dare you to watch Antichrist with your parents in the same room in one sitting.